Welcome back to Book Break! It is time for our June book haul. I have got a very exciting email in front of me that I haven't opened yet from Elle, where she has sent me the cover images for some of the most exciting books that we published in the month of June. I always love doing these. I've got my laptop here, so let's have a look. Okay, the first book in our book haul this month, The Great Flood. Okay, I remember seeing this one. So this is a non-fiction, such a striking cover image. I don't actually know what this is about, beyond obviously being about a great flood. So let's have a look at the description. Oh wow, this sounds great. So it says, combining travel writing and reportage with readings of history, literature and myth, Edward Platt explores the way floods have shaped the physical landscape of Britain and left their mark on its inhabitants. That sounds absolutely fascinating. So for 2 years, which included that winter of 2013 to 2014 when we had those record-breaking floods, Edward Platt travelled around the country visiting places that had flooded and meeting people to do his research for this book. And it's also about thinking what's going to happen as the planet keeps warming and the waters keep rising. Wow, that sounds really interesting. I'm going to order myself a copy of that actually. Okay, next we have Toxic Childhood Stress, The Legacy of Early Trauma and How to Heal. So that is a big, heavy title, but I've actually heard a lot about this one. It sounds really, really interesting. Dr. Nadine Burke Harris, who's the author, is the Surgeon General of California. She's this amazing woman. She was a pediatrician and she's done this really groundbreaking research into how early childhood trauma can actually affect your current and future health. So this book includes this test where you can look at your own early childhood experiences and what trauma might be currently affecting you. And it doesn't have to be these big, massive traumatic events. The book kind of shows how any adverse childhood experiences can affect you now. So it sounds really interesting. Next, The Greek Holiday. Ah, that makes me wistful. I was supposed to be on a Greek holiday this summer, but obviously that's not happening. That cover is so beautiful though. That really makes me wish I was going to be in Greece this summer. It looks so warm and lovely, and I love that tagline. There's nothing like friendship and sunshine to get you through. So let's just have a quick look at the description. So it's about 4 old university friends who reunite to go on this trip to a Greek island. Sounds heavenly. And it's all about them talking to each other about the difficult things they're going through and, most importantly, finding the true importance of female friendship. That sounds wonderful. What's next? The Ditch by Herman Koch. Okay, I love this cover. Look at those colours. I haven't read this one. I've read The Dinner by Herman Koch. That was absolutely gripping. Such a dark book about really unlikable, sinister characters. It's a book that I still think about years after I've read it. So I definitely want to get my hands on The Ditch as well. Oh, looking at the description just makes me even more excited. So this is about a mayor, the mayor of Amsterdam, who becomes completely obsessed with the idea that his wife is cheating on him. So he gets really paranoid and jealous, but the book kind of plays with that paranoia. So questioning like whether actually Robert is now finally seeing the world for how it really is and finally seeing the truth. So kind of pushing you once you're already paranoid. Maybe it's because it's true. Sounds very dark. Oh look, and even Stephen King has said on the front here that Herman Koch is rapidly becoming one of his favourite writers. High praise. Next we've got The Bells of Old Tokyo, Travels in Japanese Time. So this is a non-fiction book that I talked about in our Weird and Wonderful non-fiction video, so I'll link to that. It sounds so interesting. So this is Anna Sherman exploring the history of the public bells that used to tell the time in Tokyo, and actually the significance of time now within Japanese culture. So she goes around, interviews lots of people. Even the Japanese language has a different relationship than our language does with time and memory. So absolutely fascinating. And I don't know that much about Japanese culture, so that sounds like one I need to read. Then we've got Wild and Crazy Guys. This book looks so much fun, and I've heard from anyone in the office who's read it that it is really funny. So this one's about the biggest Hollywood comedy stars of the 80s. So people like Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin. It's got interviews with them, interviews with directors who worked with them, and it's all about their antics on screen and off screen. Okay, next one here is Sweet Home by Wendy Erskine. So this is a short story collection. Such a beautiful cover. And this one has actually been really popular with you guys. I always get comments whenever we've talked about this in a video that you guys really loved it, and this is now the paperback coming out. So if anyone hasn't got it yet, now's your chance. All the stories are set in Belfast, which is where the author is from, and it's all about the quiet tragedies kind of under the surface of people's everyday lives. So very moving books, but also quite warm and compassionate as well. The Blind Light by Stuart Evers. This is another one I've heard a lot of people talking about at work as well. So this is one of those whole life stories. I love those. As you'll know if you watched, we did a video recently on books that span a whole life versus books set all in one day. I will link to that for more recommendations. But this is another of those that runs through generations of a family, so even longer than just one person's life, and I love those. It starts in the 50s when this guy called Drummond meets two people during his national service that will end up changing his life. So we get the perspectives of the various people and then later their children, and it goes all the way from the 50s to present day and kind of explores how these little moments and also global events will shape these characters through the generations. Very interesting. Oh, Endurance. Okay, I don't know about this one. SAS soldier, polar adventurer, decorated leader. So this is Captain Louis Rudd's story of when he finished a solo unsupported crossing of Antarctica, pulling a 130 kilogram sledge laden with his supplies for more than 900 miles. Wow. So in the book we get this story as well as background of how Louis Rudd has always had this thirst for adventure. He joined the Royal Marines when he was 16, and it says, with edge of the seat storytelling, Endurance is an awe-inspiring account of courage and resilience by a remarkable man. Incredible. The Half-Sister by Sandy Jones. This one will be fun. So Sandy Jones is the author of The Other Woman and Her First Mistake. She writes these books that are all about, they're psychological thrillers about complicated family relationships or dynamics between couples, and The Half-Sister is about two sisters who one day answer the door to this woman who's shown up and says that she is their half-sister. And you can see from the front cover it says, her arrival will ruin everything. You know, on Book Break we love thrillers, we love books about sisters, we definitely love thrillers about sisters, so I think this one will be really fun. Oh, then there's the Ted Chiang story collection, Stories of Your Life and Others. So Ted Chiang is the author of the short story that the movie Arrival was based on. That story is in this collection along with 7 others, and Ted Chiang writes these really human speculative sci-fi stories. They're really, really interesting. Obama loves him. He said that his short story collection Exhalation was the absolute best kind of science fiction, so I'm sure he would love this book too. And then we have, oh, it's time for the MCLs. Always love these. So this is Passing by Nella Larsen. This is a really short classic. I read this one at university and it's so good and so interesting. And it's about a woman who reunites with an old childhood friend and discovers that the friend is now married to this really racist white man and is passing as white. So her husband has no idea about her family heritage, no idea about the community where she grew up. And so as these friends reconnect, tensions rise and their situation becomes more dangerous. It's a really interesting book. And then finally, you can see this is the last one in here, is going to be another MCL. And that is Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. Seacole in Many Lands, which is the memoir of Mary Seacole, who was this amazing nurse. She was born in Jamaica and then travelled through the Caribbean, the Bahamas, all the way to England to offer her help as a nurse in the Crimean War, even though this was initially refused. But she ended up setting up this really famous hotel where she looked after wounded soldiers and also offered them food and shelter. And for a long time, she was really underappreciated. So I am really excited that we now have this book in the Macmillan Collectors Library, and hopefully lots of people will read it. And that's the end of this month's haul. So do leave a comment and let me know which of those books you're particularly excited to read. I thought that was a really good haul this month. I will link to our playlist of all our previous book hauls if you want to go back and see some of the other exciting books we've published over the last few months. And I'll see you next time.